Welcome to the channel and welcome to this 1,500 point match play game between Death Guard and Imperial Guard. These mean city streets have been bombed out and ruined, and demonic totems have been set up along the main avenues here and here. We're playing 4 pillars, the 4 pillars from the main 40k rulebook, and both of us have picked the 4 pillars as one of our secondary objectives. It's table quarter deployment, Guard versus Death Guard. Loads of ruins all over the place, which means line of sight across the center of the table is extremely restricted. You can't fire through ruins as well. They completely block line of sight. However, as you can see, there's some wide open firing angles here, there, and everywhere. The battle mats from urban mats. The ruined buildings are from urban mats as well. And the way the 4 pillars work is, if you're on an objective, at the end of your movement phase, you can start to siphon the power from it. And if you're still on it in your command phase, you get a point if you're on 1, or 3 points if you're on 2, or even more points if you're on 3 or 4. The way I see it is the Death Guard are moving into this site to try and corrupt these pillars. I've also chosen Shadow Operations from the Death Guard codex, which means I want to corrupt and Contagion the pillars as well. Every single one that I do will get me an extra 3 points. So that stacks. The 4 pillars one stacks with spread the Contagion, and I've got fleeing vectors as well as my secondaries. The primaries, you score 5 points for an objective, 10 points for 2 or more objectives, 15 points if you get more objectives than your opponent. And talking about opponents, we welcome back Support Babble Sultan. Say hi, Support Babble Sultan.
Hello.
Thanks for coming down.
Welcome.
You brought the Guard along today. Why have you brought the Guard along today?
Because you told me to.
I did, because over in the Deployment Zone, www.deploymentzone.tv, we are currently running a campaign called 40k Combat School.
Yeah.
Where it's my 13th versus your Blood Angels.
Yeah.
And when this one goes up, the second one is about to go up on Tuesday in the Deployment Zone. So there's a lot of Blood Angels content in the Deployment Zone.
Lots, yeah.
And your sisters are coming along, and your Death Watch are coming along, and
Death Watch are very small.
You've got like all the Imperial armies.
Everything except Custodies, I think.
And we love the Guard. I mean, what's worse than fighting in city streets, even in this day and age? What would be worse would be fighting in ruined city streets with demons stalking the shadows in the battlefields of the 41st millennium. As for the Guard secondaries, you've also picked the 4 pillars. So the way I see it is you're strapping demo charges on them and things like that, and they're obviously going to take some time to blow up. You're trying to destroy them. I'm trying to corrupt and take them. You've brought Bring It Down, so you want to kill my monsters and tanks and engage on all fronts, spread out all over the place. So the Guard are trying to kill and spread out and consecrate this site. The Death Guard are trying to spread out and corrupt this site. 1,500 points, urban mats for the stuff down here. Let's go and have a look at these armies. I'm very, very excited. Here's a patrol of Death Guard, 1499 points. You don't get much for the Death Guard. They're quite pricey, except for Poxwalkers, which are 5 points each. Now, the idea is I've kept it relatively simple because new codex and all, many new rules and new stratagems to bring about. And I could have overcomplicated it very quickly and forgotten half of the things that I'm going to do. But one of the things I am going to do is spend a CP and give my Plague Champion in the Blight Lord Terminator squad a relic. The relic is the Plague Skull of Glothilla, and it's a once per battle thing.
Godzilla?
Glothilla. It's a once per battle thing, and it's the opportunity to do mortal wounds. It's only got a 6-inch range, but they should be in range of something at some point in the battle. And 3 mortal wounds for a command point, I'll buy that for $1. Leading the army is Demon Prince Steve. I've given him the psychic power, miasma of pestilence. He's got hulking physique for his warlord trait. That gives him an extra wound, so he's a 9 wound demon prince with a 5-up invulnerable save. Hulking physique as well also gives you transhuman physiology, essentially. He can't be wounded on a 1, 2 or 3. So las cannons, missile launchers, things like that. Toughness 7, can't be wounded on a 1, 2, 3 with 9 wounds. And I've given him the relic, the suppurating plate. So 2 up save, 5 up invulnerable save, transhuman physiology, psycho bad boy. He should be mean. I've given him the sword as well, because they come with base 6 attacks now, an extra attack with the malefic talons on the right, so that's quite fruity. Death Guard have lost Death to the False Emperor and Hateful Assault. We don't have those extra bonuses when you go charging in now, but they've dished out extra attacks across all the army as standard, so they just rolled extra attacks into the datasheet. Demon Princes used to have 4. He's got 6 now. With a unit of 20 Poxwalkers, because that's what happened to the population of this planet. We have 2 units of 7 Plague Marines, because Plague Marines, there's a Blight launcher in each of them, but the Sergeant equivalents, the Champion equivalents have just got Bolters, because I've also spent 10 points on each squad on Sigil of Decay. Each time an attack is made with a bolt weapon in the Bearer's unit, unmodified hit rolls of 6 automatically wound the target, which is quite nice. And with malicious volleys and an inexorable advance for Death Guard, they can pump out a terrifying amount of firepower with just bolt weapons. So 1 Blight launcher in each, lots and lots of bolt weapons. Talking about bolt weapons, the Blight Lord Terminators only have bolters and axes and swords, no special weapons in there. 40 points a pop, they're quite pricey. But 3 wound toughness 5 Terminators with a 4 up invulnerable save, they should be sticking around for quite some time. I have a Malefic Blight Hauler, a Fetid Bloat Drone with the sprayers, and 2 of the tanks with Entropy Cannons. Entropy Cannons are plague weapons now, so you can re-roll wound rolls of 1. That's what plague weapons do. And instead of D6 damage, Entropy Cannons do D3 plus 3 damage. And Blight Haulers hit on 3s. All the demon engines now hit on 3s. So I want to see what Entropy Cannons can do. The last thing I took in my elite slot is a Plague Surgeon. This guy acts as exactly like an apothecary in the Space Marine book. So infantry units, Astartes bubonic infantry units within 3 inches of him have a 6 up feel no pain. So that'll only count towards the Plague Marines and the Blight Lord Terminators, and he can heal wounds back on them for D3. I've also selected the Ferryman Plague Company, and what that means is I can spend a CP in the command phase on this chap, and his 3-inch healing aura of 6 up feel no pain goes out to 9 inches. It'll cost me a CP in the command phase every time I want to do it, but that does mean I can spread out quite a bit with my infantry units and have a 9-inch healing aura instead of a 3-inch healing aura. So that is quite a good thing to do. We have Disgustingly Resilient. We have all the new rules. We'll discuss them as they come up. This is my Death Guard force called the End of All Things. I'm not going to stick to a plague company with the End of All Things. I'm going to move around the different plague companies, mainly because I want to try them out. I want to try out different things and show you guys different looks. And I also see, narratively speaking, that the End of All Things is a religion. It's a philosophy. We're now in the end times, and that there are different parts of the Death Guard all across the Legion that follow the ideology of the End of All Things. So it works narratively-ish for me too. Plus it's cool. It's cool using the different play companies. So an absolute beat stick for my Warlord with his extra toughness and transhuman physiology. The ability to throw out my 6-inch ignore wounds to 9 inches long. The ability to deep strike the Terminators in. Yeah, it's going to be brutal. You're in the Guard, son. This is 1,500 points, a battalion and a patrol, which means Sultan's already spent 2 CP. This is the glorious Vorkanis 22nd. Would you like to talk us through what you have here, sir?
Yeah, so simply put, the patrol is all the white stuff and the battalion is all the blue stuff.
Okay.
The blue stuff is following the Cappic Eagles doctrine, which means they get +1 to hit when they jump out of a vehicle.
Right.
And they don't have suffer penalty for moving and firing heavy weapons.
Yes.
Which is good for the volley guns.
Well, these are signs as well, so they hit on 3s.
Yes, yeah.
So when they get out of a vehicle, they'll be hitting on 2s.
Yeah.
And if they get back in and get out again, they
can
hit
do
on
it
2s.
again. Yeah. That is nice.
Okay.
So that's the Cappic Eagles. The White Army and the Patrol is Talon because they've got tanks.
Yes.
And you can't take tanks in a Scions regiment. So Talon is basically you can advance and fire weapons with infantry without the penalty, except heavy weapons. You still can't fire them.
Right.
And then if you're in a vehicle, heavy weapons become assault weapons if you advance. So
Okay.
it's pretty cool.
So those are the doctrines that you use,
Yeah.
but there is a huge amount of lore behind the Vorkanis 22nd, and people can go to the deployment zone. We did a campaign on there, the prison
Couple
bait
of them,
campaign.
yeah.
Done 2 campaigns with these guys over there. So they use different battle doctrines, but they're all from the same planet. I think for those who are new to it, the general speaking is on your planet you start off as the fast Talon-esque type stuff.
Yeah.
And
Mechanized
then
infantry.
as they specialize and as they get more and more elite, they end up in the flyboy squads.
Yeah.
I love it. Right, okay, so crack on.
Okay, so in the patrol then we've got a tank commander.
Right.
Tank commander, I'm giving a CP on a weapon expert, which is a tank age stratagem. You can only do it once per battle and on one model. So basically he gets an extra AP for every weapon.
Does he?
Is his thing.
Extra AP?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think versus Death Guard is probably quite a
Probably
useful
a good
thing.
idea.
Yeah. Then we've got a 10-man squad of Scions. They're still Scions, but they're in this detachment, and they all have melter guns.
Yep.
And then we've got a Demolisher with plasma and a las cannon, and another Lehman Russ with bolters and a las cannon.
Okay.
As you see on the tin.
Triple tanks.
Triple tanks.
All the tanks.
Yeah, I thought some guns versus Death Guard.
Nice.
In the Kappa Eagles, the Warlord is Sidexus here. He has the Master Vox trait, so basically 24 inches from any vehicle he's in, he can give orders out of it, or 24 inches just from himself, which is useful for aircraft because it's from the hull. He's also got a command rod for an extra order, and his relic is the Tactical Auto Reliquary of Tiberius, which basically means he can give an extra order as long as he doesn't roll a 1.
So all the orders.
All the orders.
From inside transports as well.
From inside transports, yeah.
I like it.
Then we got this is normally just a Tempesta, but he's been upgraded to Tempesta Prime for today because I didn't have another blue one. So he's another Tempesta Prime who can give another order just to suit the army.
Okay.
Officer of the Fleet here is Renard, so he's going to be calling in airstrikes and stuff like that. Command squad, we've got a medic, we've got a Voxcaster, plasma and a melter gun. Bit of a mishmash because it's just what I had spare.
Okay.
3 Bullgrins led by Giz the mech. And then... You like Giz the mech?
I like Giz the mech.
Yeah, and then over here we got double plasma, double hotshot volley gun, plasma on every Sarge, 2 power fists, and a power sword.
So this is a highly elite type force.
Yeah, it's not a lot of troops for a guard army.
You've got the tanks pushing in, rumbling through the city along with the Ogrins, and then you've got flyboys either dropping out of the sky on grav shoots or dropping out of this. Is this a Vendetta?
That's a Valkyrie.
You've got a Valkyrie.
So that's Judgment. That's the command Valkyrie where the boss is going to go in. He's going to have the 3 Bullgrins in with him.
Judgment. It's got a name as well.
Yeah, because it's killed 2 characters, just sniped them by itself.
Yeah, cool. So the tanks rumbling through the streets, and then flyboys jumping out all over the place to lace charges onto these 4 pillars, onto these objectives, and try and destroy them before the Death Guard corrupt this site. They're sending in the best of the best here. It's going to be mean, it's going to be dirty, it's going to be stinky. There's no room for a simple, humble guardsman. A lot of these guys might need some therapy after this, but don't worry, their local neighbourhood commissar is there always to have a nice friendly chat to and shoot them in the head if they show any signs of deviancy.
Oh, we're not like that. Yeah, we are.
Let's go to deployment. Here we are after deployment as the Death Guard, the end of all things, begin their relentless march through these ruined city streets to contaminate these objectives, to siphon the power from them and contaminate them. The vehicles are going left, the Poxwalkers staying on this home objectives, and the infantry going right. Meanwhile, across on the other deployment, we have tanks ready to push up through the city streets and a flyer screaming overhead. Inside the flyer, the Bullgrins and the Officer of the Fleet and the HQ, and dropping in through grav chute
Insertion.
That's the one, are these chaps. So they're in reserve, ready to deep strike in. I've got some Terminators in reserve, 200 points, ready to deep strike in.
I think that's about the same amount of points as all this put together.
Is it? My 5 Terminators.
So, I mean, this might be 200 points potentially.
Yeah. Remember, the Guard want to bring it down, so they'll get points for killing monsters and vehicles. They want to spread out to get as many table quarters as possible, and they want to consecrate. They want to destroy, siphon the power from these objectives here. Right, now we need to roll off to see who goes first. I have a diseased purple today. After you, sir.
Blue. I have to go first.
Jet engines scream overhead. The Vorkanis 22nd raise a cheer. It's Imperial Guard, turn 1. Here we are after the Vorkanis, 20 seconds, movement phase. Both of the tanks rumble down the streets at maximum speed, so they're not going to be firing their turret weapons twice. And the flyer's zipping overhead as well. The officer of the fleet disembarking before the flyer moved. This squad is siphoning power from there.
Yeah.
So they're strapping their melter charges to it. And then in the next command phase, you start doing that in the movement phase, the end of movement phase, then in the next command phase, you'll get a point because you've chosen not to siphon power on get a tank commander out and start siphoning power on this one. You originally said your plan was to do that.
Yeah.
But given the amount of firepower that's down this street looking back at you, back at both of those tanks, if one of these started doing siphon power, then because you're doing an action, they can't do anything else.
Yeah, and I can't double up because you can only have one unit doing one objective. So if you kill that, that's it. And it then means it never shot, never did anything.
And if you pick that tank, I'll start shooting everything at that tank.
Exactly.
And if you pick that tank, I'd start shooting everything at that tank. So instead, you're just content to sit on both of the objectives with both of the tanks and throw all the firepower you can to try and dent me and then start siphoning power next turn.
I know what my shooting is like.
And talking about additional firepower, that's the tank commander there. You've advanced him round, but with the Talon trait, he'll still be able to shoot. And he's now in this ruin here.
Yeah.
Because you're in the ruin, you can fire through it. If you were on the other side of it, you wouldn't have been able to fire through it. So we've got 3 tanks that can suddenly fire down this street. And this move here with the flyer was inspired. Because I could have easily moved down and then charged the tanks and tagged them and stop them shooting essentially. But when you can move past flyer bases, but you still have to end your move more than an inch away.
Yeah.
So to get past them, I would have had to advance, and then I can't charge. I could be on the other side and then charge through, but I've still got to be more of an inch away. Basically, if you run up and stand beneath an Apache gunship, you're going to have a very bad time.
There's a thing called downwash.
So you're using the flyer to block off, and now you're going to unleash hell on the end of all things. So no orders coming out from Secondaries this turn, but the tank commander is issuing gunner's kill on sight on himself.
Yeah, Arafeo.
Arafeo. And what are you targeting?
So we're going to put everything into the Melter Nasty Bug thing.
Mephitic Blight Hauler, okay.
So we'll start with his battle cannon. How many shots? For 2 shots.
2 shots.
2 shots hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s.
Because you advanced. Rerolling 1s because of gunner's kill on
1
sight.
hit.
Yep.
It's toughness 7, is that right?
It is toughness 7.
Winning on 3s. Wounds.
AP.
-3 because he's weapons expert.
Is he?
Yeah.
So I need a 6. I don't get a 6.
And it's D something damage.
So it does 1 damage.
Does 1 damage, yeah.
The hauler's down to 8 wounds left. Now the las cannon zaps out and hits. Wounds on a 3. And it wounds. It's AP -4 because of your...
-5 now, because las cannons are -4 anyway, aren't they?
No, they're minus... You're playing too many Space
Marines, yeah.
-3 +1 because of the tank thing.
Yeah.
So I don't get a save.
Oh.
But I do have a 5-up demon save. I just remembered I rolled a 5 for my save last time.
Okay, so we've still got 9 wounds.
I've still got 9 wounds. 5-up demonic save. I don't make it. And that does 2 damage, which is reduced by 1. Disgustingly resilient.
Ooh.
Heavy bolters. 4s. Rerolling.
It's a shame these don't do 2 damage against Death Guard.
No.
So this will be 5s.
Yes.
For 2.
And I need 4s. I fail them both. Now that would do 4 damage, but it's 2 damage because of disgustingly resilient. I love it. 1 minute, there's a HK on it as well. Rocket zips out and hits. Wounds on a 3.
Strength 10.
Doesn't wound. Man, boy.
Yeah, go on, I got plenty.
Doesn't wound. So the hauler has been knocked down to 6 wounds. It's still very combat effective. We're coming round here to tank number 2, and it's firing all the guns at the hauler as well.
Yeah.
Starting off with a battle cannon for D6 shots.
For 5, that's better. Hitting on 4s.
Nice.
That's good shooting.
Good shooting, Tex.
And
3s to wound.
3s. 2.
2.
And -2.
5s. I don't make any.
D3 go.
2d3 damage. So that becomes 2, and that's a 1. It's on 3 wounds left.
That's good.
Then a las cannon goes crack boom and hits. Wounds on a 3. Wounds. 5-up demon save. Please, please, please.
I kept rolling.
and make the save. So the heavy bolters are going to have to do it.
4s.
But there is a
pretty good gunner in this.
HK on that tank as well.
1.
Another wound, 4-up save. And make the save. So the HK is going to have to do it. And the gunner misses. So 2 tanks have spoken. The demon engine is still chugging. You're saving the firepower of the 3rd and final tank. Instead, the Valkyrie is going to put all of its guns down into the same target. And something about the officer of the fleet is doing something what to the flyer?
Strafing coordinates.
Strafing.
Within 18, he can reroll 1s.
Reroll 1s on the flyer?
Yeah.
Okay. Coming down at the Mephitic Blight Hauler. Good luck. Here's the last cannon.
4s. Hits.
3s to wound. Wounds. 5-up demon save. I fail it. D6 damage, 3 left. That becomes a 1.
I'm going to see. I can't.
You have. Let's CP'd it. It's got 2 wounds left. 2 heavy bolters. Chugga, chugga, chugga. There's a 1 to reroll.
Yeah.
And you get 4 hits. Now you need 5s to wound. This is the tricky part.
1.
1 wound. 4-up save. I make that save. It's still got 2 wounds left. Rocket pods. 2d6 shots each for 8. 4s to hit. Rerolling 1s. 5s to wound. 1 wound. 1 3-up save. And I make it. So the Layman Rust Demolisher is going to have to kill that demon engine. Spending 2 CP on Hail of Fire. So instead of rolling D6 for the turret and D3 for the plasma guns, you automatically get the maximum number of shots. The turret is going into the crawler. All the other guns going into my buzzing fetid blow drone.
Yes.
So 6 shots hitting on 4s.
2 hits.
2 hits. And if you did grind in advance on this thing, it would have 12 shots.
Yeah. 3s. 1.
1 wound. I fail the save. How much damage
D6.
is it? -1 to this amount of damage.
Ah, finally.
It's gone. Does it blow up? Interestingly, it does. But interestingly, when vehicles blow up in Death Guard now, it doesn't hurt other Nurgle units. It just goes squelch.
Squish.
Death Guard showing that they're disgusting and resilient one more time. You're overcooking the plasma to get it up to strength 8 instead of strength 7.
Running on 3s because I need every bit of help I can get.
Okay. 6 shots.
4s. Doesn't take any damage,
roll
which is
any
good.
1s, yeah. So you're wounding on 3s instead of 4s.
Yeah.
And you wound. That works. See,
work,
extra
yeah.
2 times there. 5-up saves. I don't make
1 damage a go though.
Yeah, that would have been 2 damage each, but 1 damage a go because they're disgustingly resilient. These things start off with 9 wounds now, so they don't degrade, but they've lost a wound. It's down to 7.
Okay, so
Last cannon.
Last cannon, yeah. Hits.
Oh dear.
Wounds.
Oh dear. Oh dear. 5-up.
You're good at those.
I made the save. Last shot. HK zips out and hits. Wounds on a 3. It does wound. Missile through the streets, and I fail the save. D6 damage. 5 reduced to 1 to 4. So the drone is on 3 wounds left. That's it for the Vorkanis 20-second shooting phase. Lots of firepower erupting through the streets, but the end of all things, showing just how tough they are. You do get a point for bring it down because you've killed a vehicle. The Vorkanis are not engaging on all fronts at this moment, but they are on 2 objectives and siphoning power on that objective back there. So spreading out and beginning to bring the firepower to the end of all things as we move on to Death Guard turn 1. Here we are after the Death Guard movement and command phase. In the command phase, I spent a CP on droning wings to increase the aura of my Plague Surgeon to 9 inches. So all of these guys here have got a 6-up shrug. And I want to put Miasma of Pestilence on Steve there. I need a 6, so that passes. He's going to be -1 to hit. The idea is that my Demon Prince and this unit of Plague Marines go charging in on that tank commander there. Now, you can only perform 1 action per battle round, and there's actions to siphon power. And if I siphon power from 2 things, I'll get 3 points. But there's also an action to spread the sickness. I'm trying to do the Contagion thing. So I'm choosing to spread the sickness on this one. I can't start performing the action on that other objective yet because I had to advance onto it. And you can't advance and then start performing actions. They can start spreading sickness and contaging that objective next turn. And then once I've turned these objectives to my favour and infected them.
Gross.
Made them gross with the touch of Nurgle. Then I'll start siphoning power on them. They're not ripe to be siphoned yet. So I'm on 2 objectives. The Guard are on 2 objectives. We're going to start spreading Contagion next time. Tanks are pushing down the street. The idea with this drone on 3 wounds left is he actually makes a charge. Because if I kill one of these tanks and engage the second one in close combat, then this objective will be contested and the Guard will only be on 1. So that's tactics. Let's try and shoot some guns. Before we do, shoot some guns. At the end of the movement phase, spread sickness. Do this thing. What you can do is you roll a dice on a 4-up, you get your 3 points. And then you roll a dice on that one on a 4-up, you get 3 points. You roll a dice. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Or instead, you can just take D3 wounds on the unit and you get it automatically without rolling the 4-up. So I'm going to take D3 wounds on the unit. So they take a wound, a mortal wound, but they ignore wounds on a 6. Oh. So the Poxwalkers ignore the wound anyway, and this objective is infected. That happens at the end of the movement phase. Now we fire all of the crawlers into this tank here because it's got the longest range with its battle cannon, and I'm spending a CP. On Disgusting Force, Plague Burst Mortars are damage 2 now, not damage D3, and this gets its damage up to a flat 3. And it has D6 shots, and I get 5 shots.
Firing thunderhammers at me.
They hit on 3s now. Everything hits. It's strength 8 versus toughness 8, so 4s to wound, but it's also a platinum. I get 4 wounds. They're AP -2, but 3 damage now instead of 2 damage.
5-up saves. I'm in 2, so I take 6 damage.
6 damage.
Halves the Layman Russ.
2 entropy cannons coming in hot, hitting on 3s. They both hit. They're strength 8, so 4s to wound. And they're also plague weapons, so I would be able to re-roll that. And they're AP -4, D3 plus 3. So that one does 5 damage. This one does another 5 damage. That's 10 damage going into the tank. The first tank is down and it does not blow up. Now let's fire all the guns from the second tank into the second tank. D6 shots. This time I get 3 shots, which hit on 3s. 2 hits and
plague thing.
No, that's for wounds. The plague weapon's for wounds. Hit on 3s, wound on that. -2, 2 damage this time. So you take 2 damage. 2 entropy cannons, both hit. Wounding on 4s, and it's a plague. Do I? Because you don't get a save. No, I'm not. I might as well. I might as well command point it. I do both wound. So this is 4 damage and 4 damage, 8 damage.
It has 2 left.
Now the heavy slugger on 3s, and it's strength 5, so I'm wounding on 5s. 2 wounds at -1, sir. 1 damage each though.
For make one fail one, so it's got 1 wound left.
Oh, so close. I'll tell you what, the firepower from these has definitely increased. Well, I need to charge you to get on that objective. So I'm not going to shoot you with the drone. Instead, the drone is going to shoot the flyer.
I'm just going to say, that's fly keyword, right?
Yeah.
That's fly keyword. Charge that, do a long charge, come around here.
Charge the flyer and end up here.
Yeah, you'll still be within 3 of the objective.
Its spitters are 12 inches, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, that's a good shout. Thanks. Yeah. I'll shoot the spitters at the tank. Number of auto hits. For 5 auto hits, I've already done a CP reroll. These are strength 6, so I need 5s to wound, and I reroll 1s because it's a plague weapon. So 4 wounds at -1. They do 2 damage each now. So you need to make
What? I just went. I didn't even think.
You need to make all the 4s.
I do. Wow.
It's still alive. I tell a lie. It's 1 damage each. The heavy blight launcher is a 2 damage weapon. Was that?
How many points is one of these plague burst things?
Plague burst crawl 175 points with 2 entropy cannons on it.
So 450 or something points for the 2.
Yeah.
You killed almost 400 points of mine. Now in turn 1, I used about 700 points worth of stuff to kill a 140 point drone.
Yes.
So this has gone particularly one-sided this turn.
My firepower was better. Yeah, okay. My firepower was better than your firepower. It's the -4 on the entropy cannons, and they're plague weapons. D3 plus 3 damage now.
-4, that awesome strat. And then also, my shooting was pretty appalling. And that inbuilt save, where, Duty Eternal, essentially.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was glorious.
That was glorious.
These guys can fire. They advanced, but the Blight launcher is an assault weapon firing at your tank. And I hit both times. It's strength 6. I only wound once. It's -2 damage.
Makes sense.
That's okay. All the Blight weapons are now 2 damage instead of D3. Then this unit didn't advance. I'm going to fire at your tank, and I'm spending a CP on virulent rounds? Yes, virulent rounds. My bolt guns become plague weapons. It's still 6s to wound, but I'll get to reroll 1s. 6 bolt guns, 12 shots at maximum range, hitting on 3s. I would be re-rolling 1s because there's a Demon Prince nearby, but no 1s. Now I'm wounding on 6s because Layman Russes are tough, but I'm re-rolling 1s because these bolt weapons are plague weapons. Only do 1 wound. 1 3-up save.
Makes it.
Okay, and then the Blight Launcher hits twice and is a plague weapon. Wounds once at -2.
Makes it.
And you make that. So no damage done to this tank at all with the infantry firepower. And that is the end of my movement. Shooting and psychic phase. -1 to hit Steve there because of Miasma of Pestilence. We're coming around to this thing with 3 wounds left. That tank's got 1 wound. So I'm going to declare a charge against the tank. Oh.
And also declare defensive gunners for an extra CP and hit with 5s.
Now, because it didn't move under half speed in its previous movement phase, you don't get 2d6 on the turret, just d6. But 3 wounds to get through. Let's fire the Demolisher for 5 shots. So this is hitting on 5s now.
Yes.
Nice.
Because even though he's degraded to the point where he's hitting on 6s, that says 5 or 6s.
It hits on 5s or 6s. They're firing everything. 1 hit. 3s to wound. Doesn't wound.
Oh. Glass cannon? No.
Hits. Wounds on a 3.
Wounds. Kind of
Demon save. No. D6 damage. 3 wounds to get through.
I need to roll a 4. I don't roll a 4.
That becomes a 2.
Yeah.
It's on 2. It's on 1 wound left.
Now he's going to die, so I'm overcharging.
Really?
The plasmas. Yeah, he's going to die. Look, he's got 1 wound left.
I wouldn't overcharge.
I've got a CP if I need it.
Okay. All right then.
I'm going to use the CP just in case. Okay, so he lives there.
He hits once.
And
he wounds once. So it's a save or die situation on my drone.
Yeah.
I need a 5.
Yay.
I don't get a 5. Have I done a command point in the charge phase? You've still got heavy bolters.
Yeah.
No, you haven't. You've got the the las. Yeah, this is a save or die for me now.
Yeah.
Because you've got no more guns coming out.
Yeah.
So if I get a 5, I'm alive.
Oh.
I'm alive! On 1 wound. Let's charge. That's a 9.
That's in.
The drone ends up here. He's got a plague probe which he injects into the side of the tank and tries to rot it down to rust and filth. Interestingly enough, you're in contagion range now. So instead of toughness 8, that tank counts as toughness 7.
Breaking through the seals and armour and stuff.
Yeah, but I'm still just toughness, strength 6 anyway, so it doesn't make much of a difference here. 4 attacks, hitting on 3s.
Oh, no.
I hit every single time. Strength 6 versus toughness 7 now, so I'm winning on 5s. And I re-roll that because it is a plague weapon.
Oh.
I get a wound through. It's -2 1 damage. 1 minute. Yes, -2 1 damage. 5 up or death. Death. All right, command point re-roll.
Yeah.
We have decided, or you have decided, 5 up, save or death.
Oh,
glorious stuff. And actually, if you engage your tracks and try and run over that drone, you could potentially kill it back again. How many? Imagine it's got 1 attack. Let's check. Okay, Layman Russell 1 wound, 1 attack, hitting on 6s for glory.
Yes.
So that doesn't happen. This objective here is contested. I forgot a charge.
You can do a charge.
Thank you so much. I forgot the charge. I got so excited over there.
There's no minuses, right?
There's no minuses through terrain, no.
Let's see how far it is.
It's 7 inches for Steve, and I think it's 8 inches for the Plague Marines. I measured all the
I don't
beforehand.
know Steve was that close.
Steve fails his charge. Here's the Plague Marines. I think they need an 8. They make their charge into the tank. Right, in the fight phase, spending another CP on Creeping Blight. They end up here. They've got 2 attacks each. They're in range of Steve, hitting on 3s with their Plague Knives. And their strength 4, but your toughness 7.
8.
So, toughness 7 -1 to your toughness because contagion. So I'm wounding on 5s. I'm re-rolling 1s because of plague weapons. No re-rolls. Now what Creeping Blight does is unmodified wound rolls of 6s count as AP -4.
No,
So
it's
that's
not allowed.
that's just 3 wounds right there.
You can't stab a tank, Winters.
I've just stabbed a tank. I've put a rusty blade in there and it starts rotting. These ones need saves. I can stab a tank. I have stabbed a tank. And Plague Knives are AP -1 now.
Oh,
so those are 4-up saves.
I'm going to roll
No.
it.
These auto wound, you only need 3 saves. 3 saves of 4-up. I've already wounded you with 6s.
Because you left them all there. I
They're
just assumed they all
-4.
got 3. You could have got through a lot there.
4s.
I've taken others. I've taken 4 damage to a fucking rusty knife.
Yes. And then I have a Power Fist on my champion. And he'll hit you on 4s. And I'm strength 8, your toughness 7.
Oh, good.
So I'm wounding you on 3s. And that's -3, 2 damage.
It is 6-up save, which I don't make.
So that's 6 damage in total to your tank.
And reduced.
Just by some Plague Marines. Then the tank tried to run over them back. Didn't hurt me at all. That is the end of Death Guard, turn 1. And previously I was finding it a bit tricky to spend all my command points. Now I've got 3 left. I just spent...
Turn 1?
Turn 1. I've spent
my gosh.
lots and lots of command points all over the place. I think that was a fairly successful turn. I've tied up that tank. I've tied up this tank. I've killed a tank. But more importantly, at the start of your turn 2, you're not on 2 objectives. I'm contesting that one. You'll get 5 points for the primary and 1 point for siphoning power, making it 6 points to you.
And it means I have to focus fire on getting rid of this, otherwise you'll score 15 in the next turn.
Exactly. And I'm on these 2 objectives up here. So we're going to go on to guard turn 2. The Death Guard are pushing into these ruins and making them play. Will the Flyboys, will the Scions make an entrance this turn? Let's find out in the guard. Turn 2. Here we are after the Guard's movement phase, and the Scions have dropped down onto the battle grid. We have the command squad dropping in here to soften up the tank before it gets charged by the Bullgrins. The Bullgrins jumping out of the aircraft before it moves forward. So a softening, charge, aircraft zipping this way with the HQ Sedexa still inside so he can give out orders at 24-inch range. And 2 squads of Scions with lots of plasma have dropped in there to harass that unit of Plague Marines there. Those Plague Marines want to either siphon power or infect that objective next turn, and they're going to try and do all they can to take them out. That gives me some interesting choices as well, because if I want to perform an action on there to get my CP, to get my victory points, then I can't do anything else. So do I shoot and charge them, or do I stay on there to try and take the objective? And how big is going to be the blow from the Guard? This tank, the tank commander is staying in combat here, but the other tank did fall back and has popped smoke. It's only got 1 wound left, but trying to make it as difficult as possible for me to kill. And the reason why it fell back is because this squad advanced forward. With the Talon trait, they can advance and fire their guns.
Yeah, without penalty.
And there's 4 melters in that squad, and this drone's on 1 wound left. Meanwhile, we have a last squad dropping back here onto that objective and never started siphoning power again. So if you kill this drone, you're going to be back on 2 objectives, siphoning on that one. The officer of the fleet is inside the ruins somewhere there.
He's just behind the window here, yeah.
And this is one of your commanders,
Tempesta Prime.
Tempesta Prime, ready to give out orders in following game rounds. So yeah, spreading out. You're also in 3 table quarters for engage on all fronts. So let's move on to the shooting phase. Starting here, maximum melter fire into the drone.
They're going to reroll hit rolls of 1 because of his order.
Okay.
As well. Good.
They hit 3 times. They're wounding on 3s. They wound twice, 5-up demon saves. I fail 1, make 1. Well, it's got 1 wound left, so no matter what, it dies and it doesn't blow up. That's an extra point for bringing it down. We're moving on to this tank. You're firing into combat.
Yeah.
What does that do?
So with heavy weapons, it's -1 to hit.
Yes.
But I've gone for the CP Relentless, which puts him back up to full profile.
Okay.
So normally at full profile, he hits on 3s. He'll now be hitting on 4s with heavy weapons in combat.
Relentless.
Relentless.
I love it.
He can't fire with his main battle cannon though, because that's a blast weapon.
Okay.
So might as well start with the bolters.
Sure. 4s. That's terrible. 2 hits.
Sorry, I should have said he's going to give himself the order because he's the only one in range to reroll 1s.
Okay.
So I'll reroll that 1-1. Doesn't matter anyway.
Force to wound, strength 5, toughness 5. Wounds twice. I need 4s to save.
Oh, good.
I save. Then the las cannon, which
Misses.
misses. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. I swarm the tank. They fire desperately into combat and don't wound the Plague Marines. So from the centre, we're coming round here. Take aim given on that
This
squad.
5-man squad, yeah.
So they're re-rolling hit rolls
So
of
he
1.
can give 3 orders in there, essentially. Okay. And this is the first order going to them.
Okay.
So 3s. Miss twice.
Yep.
This is just the plasma, by the way. And then 2s.
I need 6s. I fail them. You kill a Plague Marine.
Yeah, they're not overcharging because there's no point.
There is no point, no. You're always wounding on 3s. You're always doing 1 damage. What other shots you got?
There's a plasma pistol.
Yep.
Hits. Doesn't wound.
1 minute. I just remembered. Plague Surgeon. I did spend that CP on increasing his aura up to 9-inch range. So on 6s, I ignore wounds. I ignore one of the wounds from the plasma shot. One of them is down to 1 wound. Now, flashlights?
Yeah.
On 3s.
3s.
And 5s.
5s, but it's -2. Nothing.
Same deal with the second squad. 3 plasma wounds came through. I need 6s to save. I make 1 of them, and then 6s to shrug. No, 1 of them dies. 1's on a wound. Then the plasma pistol wounded, and I fail the save. And make the shrug. Then the flashlights did a wound at -2, though. Oh, I make that save. Oh dear. On to Judgment. The Valkyrie, you're splitting fire.
Yeah, it might not be the best idea, but I think it could be cool. Judgment got its name from being a character killer, and it wants to add another skull to the side there. So I'm putting everything into here, bar the las cannon, which is going to attempt to snipe your apothecary there because he's the closest.
Okay.
So go in on
missile pods.
Yeah, missile pods. So
2d6. And it's minimum 3 because of the size of the squad. So that's actually 6 shots. It's got the blast roll.
4s.
3 hits. And it's strength 5, right?
Yeah, so 4s again.
Yeah.
1. Make it.
Heavy bolters.
4s. That's better.
Okay.
And then
4s
3s.
again.
Oh, 4s again, yeah, because you're toughness 5.
Yeah. I fail 2 saves, and I fail 2 more, killing that one, putting 1 on 1 wound. And now a las cannon to the Plague Surgeon.
See what happens. It misses.
Now we're across to here, the command squad, firing everything at this tank, trying to soften it up. There's a melter. It's on a 3.
Hits.
And wounds on a 4.
Wounds.
And it wounds. I need a dice. 5-up demon save on the tank.
4.
Oh, how many have I got? 3 command. No, I'm not going to spend 1. D6 damage.
Cool. Not in half range.
For 1 damage because of Death Guard. There's a plasma gun there as well.
Yeah.
Are you overcooking it?
Yeah, because it could wound on 4s.
Okay. All right.
So hopefully he doesn't die.
He doesn't die,
but he misses.
Oh dear, oh dear. A couple of flashlights went in as well and didn't injure the tank. And strangely enough, that is the end of the guard shooting phase, only killing 1 drone and a couple of Plague Marines. And then we charged, and the Bullgrins went in against the Crawler. They have 13 attacks on the charge, and they hit on 3s. The Bullgrim Maul is strength 7, wounding on 5s. 6 wounds and -1.
Yeah, normally
2
2
damage. Yeah. So 1 damage. I take 3 wounds, not 6.
That'd be 6 on any other army.
I know. The Plague tank is down to 8 wounds left. 8 wounds left, but you have locked it up there. Unfortunately, didn't take it out. Now we're on to this fight. The Plague Marines against the Laden Rust. Defenders go first, so I get to strike first. And those 7 Plague Marines, I've got 6 with Plague Knives. I'm spending a CP on Creeping Blight again.
That horrible strat.
3s to hit you. I reroll 1s because Steve is right there. I'm strength 4 versus toughness 7 because of Contagion range. 6s are magical. There's 1 6 at AP -4.
I see your old disgustingly resilient saves have come back to help you out.
And these are AP -1 Plague Knives.
Okay, hold on.
6 4-up saves. You got some
5
dice
weeks
now.
left after that one.
Okay.
These are my dice, by the way.
Yeah.
They never write that for me.
I know. Thanks for giving them to me.
That's all right. I make all my saves. Okay, they can't roll.
Right, okay. So you only take 1 wound.
Yeah.
So Power Fist time.
Oh.
Power Fist to the face. 4s and 3s.
2.
2 wounds. 2 6-up saves.
I fail them both, so he's down to 1 wound.
Is he on 1 wound?
Yeah, he's on 6. He took 1 from the knife and then, 4 then.
Okay. Then we closed out the fight phase. We did the vehicles back against the infantry and no damage done. So my tank down to 8 wounds, your Layman Russ on 1, and this Layman Russ on 1. And that is the end of Guard turn 2. And you were just telling me there you preferred the old disgusting rules.
Yeah, I don't. Either one can be annoying in the right circumstances.
It's disgusting.
There was a chance for you to fail before. Yeah. Now it's good. It's a strong rule.
So you're on 2 objectives. You're siphoning power off that one there. Yeah. And you did get an extra point for Bring It Down, making it 8 points to 3 in favour of the Guard at the end of turn 2. But at the start of my turn 2, I'm going to get 10 points for the primaries here, making it...
that was my turn.
8 points to 13. 8 points to 13 in favour of the Death Guard as we go on to the end of all things. Turn 2. Here we are after the Death Guard movement phase. It's not 13 points to 8, it's 13 points to 10. I forgot to add on the 2 points for engage on all fronts that the Imperial Guard have. So there's only 3 points in it. Over here, what happened is I advanced forward with my Plague Surgeon who healed one of the wounds on the Plague Marines. And then at the start of the movement phase, they're going to start contaminating that objective as well. It does mean I can't shoot and charge over here. And I'll get the points at the end of the turn, but I'm not so worried about them because Steve can go in and kill 1 unit, and I've pulled back with the Plague Burst Crawler over here, so hopefully that should fire over and kill the 2nd unit. That will clear this up, and I'll have my Plague Surgeon there. I'll be on 2 objectives once more, clearing away that one. Now, mistakes were made. It turns out Poxwalkers can't complete any actions at all except for the action which is Contaminate Sites, the one that I have done with them. I did intend to use them to start siphoning power now, but they can't do that. New rules and all that. Mindless Horde. This unit cannot perform any actions excluding the Spread the Sickness action in page 39, and that's the one that I've been doing, contaminating the sites. So, no siphoning this turn, but they can sit on that objective and score me points for the whole of the game. That sounds like a plan. The other crawlers staying in combat with these guys. They're damage 2 weapons, so damage 1 against a crawler. I'm happy for them to stay there. If I fell back and put guns into them, then they have a 4-up invulnerable save with their slab shields. They might not die. And also, I wouldn't be able to fire up there with this crawler. This crawler could fire up the table one way or fire into them. And I need that clear, because if I don't fire into him, all he needs to do is advance round with the 2nd unit and get within 3 inches of that objective to contest it from me and to stop me doing my shenanigans over here. Doesn't even need to shoot, just needs to run to stop me getting some points. So staying in combat with these guys means I'll deal with them for another turn. And then the Blight Lord Terminators dropped in here, more than 9 inches away from that tank. More than 9 inches away from this unit here. The idea is they fire in as much firepower as they can to try and clear away some troops and then charge and get on that objective. It will be a 9-inch charge, a bit of a glory shot, but it could be game winning if I make that charge. We're going to start off in the psychic phase. I could put my asthma out on a bunch of different squads, but I'm going to put it on Steve one more time because he's a jealous kind of puppy and I need a 6. And he gets a 6, so he is -1 to hit again, just in case anyone wants to shoot at my Warlord. And then we fired out from here. Basically, the Plague Surgeon, the only one that can fire, because the other ones, the Plague Marines, are doing an action. He fired out and did no damage at all. Plague Marines don't have pistols into combat. There is a strat I can use to turn a grenade into a pistol 6-shot and fire into the tank on 1 wound left and kill it in shooting, but I won't need to do that. I can kill it in the fight phase, so I don't need to spend CP on that strat. So next up, we're going to go over here to the Terminators, and we will be spending a CP, so they hit on 2s. Vermid Whispers, add 1 to hit rolls. I'm also spending another CP, dropping me down to 1 left on Virulent Rounds, turning those bolt weapons into plague weapons. Because Fleeing Vectors is one of my secondaries. Basically, if I kill some models in a unit with a plague weapon, and my bolt weapons are now plague weapons, and they fail a morale, I'll get 3 CP, or 3 VP, victory points. So I don't want this to kill every single one there. I want some of them to live, so that they run away and then infect the rest of the Vorkanis 22nd. 2s to hit. Daka, daka, daka. Strength 4, toughness human, 3s to wound. Rerolling 1s because it's a plague weapon. Only got 1-1. 10 4-up saves.
You kill 4, 5.
5.
It's half the squad.
Half the squad. Hopefully they found morale. That's the plan. Tank into close combat. Can't fire the mortar because it's a blast weapon. Doesn't have a minimum range of 12 anymore. Did the stubber. It completely whiffed. Let's do the entropy cannons on 4s. That completely whiffs as well. So the Bullgrins will survive. Let's go across to this other tank, firing up and over the mortar onto the second squad. Number of shots. 3 shots, which hit on 3s and wound on 2s. Rerolling 1s. That is 3 wounds at AP -2 on this squad here.
So 3 6-up saves. Don't make any, so 3 die. Which one was it?
Entropy cannons. Yeah, this squad.
Okay.
1 hit, 1 wound at -4. And the slugger hits on 3s. And it's strength 5. And that's 2 wounds at -1 on the last guy.
There's 2 left. But
2 left. Well, 1
dies
dies
anyway, so there's only the sergeant.
Okay.
He'll probably run away.
So I've done wounds to a squad and wounds to a squad using plague weapons. So even if you spend a couple of CP on the heroic thing, one of them should flee and get me the 3 CP. I think it's a maximum of 3 CP a turn.
Victory points, not CP.
Victory points, not CP. Yeah, 3 CP at the end of the battle round if any enemy units fail in morale. So it's not more. You can't get 9 in 1 turn. And that's it for my shooting phase. Everything else is engaged. Poxwalkers don't fire. They're just ripping their arms off and throwing them up at the flyer there. We now have a charge. Steve is going to go in against these guys. Would you like to overwatch?
I think I need to. They're dead next turn.
4 plasma shots and you're overcharging.
Because you're going to kill me anyway.
Now, it's the difference between wounding on 4s and wounding on 3s.
Yeah. So plasmas. 1 dies, but he's going to die in a bit anyway. And then 3s.
No. It's 6s to hit.
Oh,
I'm
so busy. Did I roll any 6s?
No.
I wasn't paying attention.
One of them blows up.
Okay, good.
Plasma pistol?
Yeah. He just misses.
He misses. And then the flashlights. In the end, no wounds caused. Then I charge 8 inches. And I end up there. Absolutely glorious. The last charge is the Blight Lord Terminators into the tank. Need a 9. I've got 1 CP.
You make it.
But I don't need to re-roll. Now we're on to the fight phase. I have 4 Blight Lord Terminators with Bale swords. They have 3 attacks each, so that's 12 attacks. Hitting on 3s. Bale swords are strength 5. Your toughness 7 because of contagion range. So I'm winning on 5s. And I re-roll 1s. And that's 3 wounds at AP -3, 1 damage each. So 3 6s to keep the tank alive before the champion hits you. No dead tank, which doesn't go kaboom, and I steal that objective. And consolidate closer to the guard lines. Now we're coming around here to Demon Prince Steve with his big sword of doom. He's got 6 attacks with his Hellforged sword and he hits on 2s. And
that was definitely a 4.
It's strength 8 -3, 3 damage. So wounding on 2s. Yeah, everybody's dead. In fact, that would have done 15 damage to a tank.
Oops.
Then I might as well consolidate into that guy who can punch back.
Killing my guys in real life as well.
Are you throwing them all on the floor?
I'm dropping them everywhere.
Oh no. Now it's your turn to fight back. Defenders go first, and maybe I shouldn't have consolidated into him because he's got a power fist. Hits on 5s with his fist because it's -1. He hits once.
Yeah, can I just double check that?
Strength 6. You're going to be
I
winning on
don't
5.
usually come into combat with the guard.
Double checking, you are hitting on 4s.
Yeah.
So that's good. 2 hits. But you're winning on 5s. And you don't wound. That's the end of that combat. Then we're going to need to do tanks. So I'll do my Plague Marines into your tank. I'll start off with the Power Fist. I like the fact that I've got a flat 3 attacks now. Because it used to be 2 + 1 for Hateful Assault. Now it's just 3 all the time.
It makes them... I know they are Space Marines, but the idea... We spoke about it before off camera. I said I wasn't sure because they're still Space Marines, so they still get Shock Assault.
They should still have Hateful Assault.
After 10,000 years, or however long they think it's been, they've just learned it naturally to have it all the time. So I quite like that, is what you said.
Well, Space Marines have Shock Assault because of the fury of their attack and their training and their everything they go in there. But these guys have been fighting for thousands and thousands of years, so they just get an extra attack all the time. They
I quite like that.
Yeah. I don't wound you. It's not a plague weapon. I'm going to have to do lots of plague knives now. 3s and 5s. This Contagion thing is really fruity. I would have been wounding you on 6s before, but now wounding you on 5s because of the -1 toughness. So 4 4-up saves, because Plague Knives are also -1 now.
Definitely dead.
Does it blow?
Whoops.
Ooh.
I don't know. No.
The Plague Marines consolidate after destroying the tank. We come across to the Bullgrins. 10 attacks now, hitting on 3s. 5s to wound.
None.
Oh,
so that's terrible.
I made the right decision by staying locked up with you here. Then the tank revved its engines, didn't wound you back again. Now you have some morale tests to do.
I need to roll. If I roll a 4-up, he runs.
Okay.
He holds.
He holds. Oh,
And,
interesting.
Over here, leadership 7, they lost 5, so I need to roll a 3-up and they run.
Okay.
I don't want to roll a 3-up and they run. So
they do run.
One will run.
One will run.
One of the melters.
And then
I need to roll dice.
Yeah, 1s and 2s for the remaining 4.
Some 2s.
So one more goes. And that's one of my secondary objectives. They're fleed and they're carrying the pestilence and filth back to the Vorkanis 22nd. That gets me 3 points.
Nah, they just succumbed. They don't run.
Now I'm also spreading Contagion on this objective here. Spread the sickness at the end of my turn. I can roll a dice on a 4-up. I get it. Or I just take D3 mortal wounds. So I'm going to take D3 mortal wounds to get it automatically because it will get me 3 points. And I take 3 mortal wounds. But the Plague Surgeon shrugs on 6s. Oh dear. 1 dies and 1 drops a wound. But that is another 3 points for infecting that objective. And that is the end of Death Guard turn 2. I've now infected 2 objectives here. So that'd be 3 extra points for that one. I'm on 3 objectives. So in your turn, you'll only get 5 points for the primary over there. And I've almost wiped out the squad. I've wiped out... all the tanks have suddenly disappeared. The Death Guard are causing some serious carnage here. And so the Death Guard are in a very strong position. Adding up all the points, I'm on 19 points to the Guard's 10. They'll get 5 points for that one, plus 1 for siphoning power. So 19 points for 16. We have a thin line of guardsmen running along here, and some Bullgrins in close combat with this tank. And one hero sergeant who is perhaps not long for this world, as well as your HQ inside the flyer. So what, if anything, can the Guard do in turn 3? Here we are at the end of the Guard movement phase. They are still engaging on all fronts. The flyer zipped across here and picked up the hero sergeant. He's nursing his wounds along with the HQ, Sedexus.
He faced off against a demon prince and lived.
He did, indeed. And meanwhile, around here, the command squad, the melter squad, the other squad are all going to bring their firepower to get bear against the Blight Lord Terminators. You're not siphoning power on that objective there, but this is a troops unit. And they can run forward with the Talon thing and still shoot. So they're on this objective. They've stolen it off of me. Right, we're partway into the shooting phase. The flyer fired everything down at the Demon Prince Steve. You haven't fired the las cannon yet, but already the missile pods, heavy bolters, everything have taken 3 wounds off of him because there's such a volume of fire. Now you want to try and one-shot him with a las cannon, which hits on A4.
It hits.
It does hit. Interesting. Wounds on a 3.
I feel like I need to change dice, but here we go.
It wounds.
Oh.
5-up demon save.
Oh.
I don't make the save. It's D6 damage on Steve.
For 4.
Which becomes 3. Yeah. He's on 3 wounds left. So you've hurt him. You've hurt him considerably, but not killed him. And picked up the sergeant. Meanwhile, around here, we've got a lot of shots about to erupt into Blight Lord Terminators. This squad, re-rolling hit rolls of 1 with the order. 2 melters coming in hot. Both hit. Wounding on 3s, because I'm toughness. I have a 4-up and vulnerable save, which I fail, and it's D6 plus 2.
Do they have 4 wounds each? Or?
They have 3 wounds each, but if you roll a 1, I'm always -1 and I'll still survive.
I rolled a 2.
You rolled a 2, which is 4 damage, which becomes 3 damage. It will kill one of them, not the guy with the axe.
Plasma pistol to overcharge in as well.
Okay, good luck, yeah. Hits. Wounds, 4-up and Vun, and make the save. The Prime's plasma pistol doesn't hit. Onto the command squad. We've done the last guns. They haven't wounded, but we have a plasma, we have a melter. What are we doing first?
Plasma's in half range, melter isn't.
Okay.
So plasma will go first, overcharging, of course. Kills himself.
Why would you overcharge though? Because you're always hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, doing 1 damage.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There's no need to
I've
overcharge.
already done it. Then.
Let's say you haven't.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay, well, he misses but doesn't die.
Wounding
then.
on
Thank
3s.
you. Wounds.
4 up and 1. I don't make the save. 1's on 2 wounds left. Melter.
Melter. Whoops, that's a drop dice.
Drop dice don't count. It
That's
hits. 3's to wound.
Misses.
Doesn't wound. Command point.
Yes, screw it. No.
Doesn't wound. On to squad number 3. We have hotshot volley guns coming in. 4 shots each. So
they hit on 3s, even though they're heavy, because the Kappa Kegels don't get a penalty for moving heavy weapons. But they can take heavy bolters.
3's to hit. What are these? Strength 4?
Strength 4.
So 5's to wound. Is there any AP to this? It's 2 wounds.
AP minus 1?
I feel like I might have taken another wound. AP minus 2. So I have taken another wound. Plasma pistols out of range. Then we did the las guns. And 2 wounds came through. So 2 2-up saves. Oh, you kill one with a flashlight. 1 minute, not that one. He's the champion, so that one that one dies.
Oh, because you need the champion, because you're doing so hard.
Doing so hard.
I couldn't decide between
Words
it's going
good.
so hard or that still sounds bad,
Yes.
or but it's going so badly.
It's difficult. You're so discombobulated.
Shall
Would you
blend
like to
it.
charge?
Look, you've just
Is there
annihilated half
charges
my army.
coming in?
Oh,
You've stolen that one off of me. So I was getting 15 points for the primaries. Now I'm only
but
going
then
to
you'll
get
kill
10.
me in my own turn,
for the
so I don't want to
primaries.
charge you.
No?
Yeah, you'll because I'll charge you.
Yes.
They're Blight Lord Terminate. I'll bounce.
Yes.
Of course, I bounce with Blood Angels against them, and then you murder me in my own turn. Rather, at least next turn you have to charge me.
I've only got 10 attacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so no charge there. Then we did the fight phase. You did take 2 wounds off the tank this time. I did no wounds back to the Bullgrins. And that's the end of guard turn 3. So with another 5 points for the primary, another 2 points for engage on all fronts, adding up all the points, the guard are on 17 points. The Death Guard were on 19 points. So 17 points to 19. At the start of my turn, I'll get another 10 points
15,
for the...
because I hold 1.
Yeah.
We're contesting that one, aren't we?
No, your troops. You score it. You have objective secured.
You've definitely already covered this.
Yeah, I've covered
Sorry,
that already.
I've just been shot a lot. And
Basically, start of turn 3, Death Guard are winning. Let's go on to Death Guard turn 3. In the start of Death Guard turn 3, get another 10 points for the primary, making it 29 points to 17. Round here, the Plague Surgeon can't actually heal Fluffy because he's not an infantry unit. But I did put 1 wound back on one of the Plague Marines, and I've started siphoning power on that objective there. Meanwhile, round here, the Poxwalkers are just staying there. I have broken out of combat finally, because this tank can see and shoot through at the Bullgrins. The unit in the middle that destroyed the tank can shoot through at the Bullgrins, and the Blight Lord Terminators can shoot 1 unit and charge another unit. And here we are at the very end of Death Guard turn 3. I wiped out the command squad with mass reactive rounds from the Blight Lord Terminators, then charged the 3 remaining troops and killed them and consolidated back onto that objective. Meanwhile, the Bullgrins are gone. The mortar and the shells and the entropy cannons from the tank fired into them, killing 2 of them. They shot into them, wounding the last one, and then charged in and wiped him out in close combat. And at this point, we're going to say that this is the way the world ends. Support Bubble Sultan and the Imperial Guard are retreating from this battle grid. The Guard have a HQ, a unit on that objective there, and your HQ and the Sergeant in the Flyer. The Flyer is going to bank through the skies and pick up the remaining units here. They can all fit inside the Valkyrie. And what's the Valkyrie's call sign again?
Judgment.
Judgment. Will then hit its retro thrusters and leave this battle grid. Yeah, very few units left. The Death Guard still have both of their tanks. Both of the units of Plague Marines are still alive. The Blight Lord Terminators are still very tough. The Demon is very tough. And what the hell happened there? Why am I still... What? How am I disgustingly... What?
They're tougher than ever.
I didn't realise.
Yeah. Well...
When
I
I was
probably bought the wrong list.
I don't know.
I bought loads of plasma because plasma's usually pretty good.
Yeah.
For guard anyway. You need to bring gun with guard. You need to bring good gun with guard because we're not tough enough to stay.
Yeah.
So you hope you wipe out what you shoot, But plasma, which is usually good, doesn't work here because you just don't take 2 damage.
But you brought triple tanks and you fired... That Mephitic Blight Hauler is like firing at a Dreadnought, right?
I did...
Because it's got Duty Eternal, essentially. That's what Disgustingly
I
Resilient
did
has
roll
got.
fairly poorly.
You did roll fairly poorly, but it's like a Dreadnought with a 5-up invulnerable save.
Yeah.
So I was able to shrug a number of things, and then the -1. And then when I was building my list, I was actually quite worried because I thought, well, I've got 4 vehicles. I've got 2 tanks and 2 fasty things, and then I didn't have many. I got like 7 guys and 5 blood. I thought I didn't have many guys, but
that's the
Christ on a
YouTube
bike.
gets
That
to
was
see
painful.
the first time I've been truly and utterly trounced. Like,
Actually,
completely trounced there. I had.
We've had one battle where you were going to get with Vorkanis 22nd against my orcs and utterly smashed my orcs.
Well, that was the
once.
last game I played with them, so
Right.
they've come back now. They're probably a bit tired and been wiped out. No, Death Guard. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, Death Guard potentially overpowered." So on. Every army's going to do this. It's codex creep, isn't it? That's what they do. So when the Guard get their codex, when Sisters get theirs, and so on, Sisters are still pretty strong. You know, everyone gets their new codex. We'll catch up in some way.
Yeah.
I don't know what they'll give the Guard to make them on an even playing field, but I feel like Death Guard at least can now take on Space Marines.
Yeah. I feel like Disgustingly Resilient across the whole army is brutal.
That is brutal.
That -1 damage everywhere. I really, really felt that.
Ignoring terrain.
Ignoring terrain and the movement. Yeah, Death Guard previously felt really slow, and they are still pretty slow, but no, they're okay. I was able to jump over that barricade there and move forward and advance round without the -2, so that helped. The other thing that I really noticed from my point of view was multiple wounds. I noticed that, I felt that, rather than just 1 wound. Having those extra wounds on a toughness 5 thing is just nasty.
Yeah, what I found was I had to fight really hard to even wound you in some cases.
Yeah.
And then when I did the damage, it was doing less damage. And then I found, because my army is mostly toughness 3, when you fired back, your shooting wasn't anything incredible.
No.
I mean, it was just regular, what we call marine shooting. But because marine shooting against the Guard army is always really good.
Yeah.
Always really good. But I just couldn't do the damage back to you to stop you shooting in that kind of volume.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're shooting like a marine army, but you have the toughness of a custodian army.
Well, I'm shooting like a marine army, but I have the ability to make my shots plague weapons.
Yeah.
That kicked in for the re-rolling to wound.
Yeah.
That -1 to your toughness in close combat really helped, because plague
Toughness
knives
2,
are AP -1, re-rolling to wound.
Yeah.
So that really kicked in. For 1 CP, turning plague knives into AP -4.
Yeah.
That really kicked in.
That's really weird, going from AP -1 to AP -4. I don't know. I haven't read the book. So when I saw that, I was like, that's...
Creeping Blight.
Yeah.
You can just do it with... You don't have to do it in the fight... Oh, no, it's a fight phase thing.
Yeah.
It's always in the fight phase. I can do it on these guys to make their... It's just...
Oh, I see. So it's anything becomes AP -4. Right,
anything with a plague weapon.
Plague knives,
anything with a plague weapon.
That makes plague knives really good, because
I
they're
know.
free, aren't they?
They're free.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've got 2 attacks all the time. Hitting on 3s, wounding on... I mean, against Space Marines, for example, because you'll be -1 toughness, I'll be hitting on 3s, wounding on 3s, re-rolling 1s.
And ignoring the armor.
And 6s will be AP -4.
Yeah.
So they're going to be nasty.
I think, Death Guard can now take up... I'd be interested to take my Blood Angels against these, because if I don't kill them in the turn I charge them, they're going to really hurt.
They're going to hurt back.
Yeah.
Blood Angels should still be just as effective when they charge Plague Marines, because they still hit like a brick. But it's the...
Yeah. Well, it's what we said halfway through. Sorry, my Valkyrie was on a wonk. It's what we said halfway through, is that for example, the Blood Angels, you need certain things to happen. You need to have charged.
Yeah.
You need to be the one charging.
Yeah.
So on. A Guard, you need to have the orders go off. Other armies, you need the litanies. Tau, you need to have the marker lights. At the moment, Death Guard appear to have everything without having any variable. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, these guys
have got the tools that they need to get the job done, particularly when you add the stratagems without having a psychic power on them, without having something put on them. They can just do the job. Plague Marines can just do the job with the guns that they have.
Inbuilt -1 damage, inbuilt keep advancing and shooting, inbuilt bolter discipline. It's all, I think it's really interesting. I'll be interested to see what the other codices do to keep up with them.
And I'm very tempted next time to bring a Death Guard list without any vehicles. Just go infantry heavy.
And that's what they're meant to be in the lore, isn't
and
it? So,
add a number of the characters in, like the Tallyman, like the Foul Blight Spawn, and go an infantry heavy type list and just push forward. Yeah, that's what they do in some of the lore. Yeah, I think
they feel tough. They feel like they should do in the story. These guys feel like moving Marines.
Do they?
To me, yeah.
Nice.
You know, when you say, moving Marines, when you bring an entire army of these guys, they feel like how normal Space Marines should be toughness, but obviously it's not really possible for the game, it'd be too much.
Yeah.
But these guys feel like they're almost there.
Yeah, and
especially with 3 wounds, I can overcharge put a melter right into you and the standard damage doesn't kill him. Whereas a normal Terminator is dead.
3 wounds, toughness 5, 4 up invulnerable save.
And they're now moving 5,
I would have sworn that they would have had a 5 up invulnerable save now. But no, 4 up invulnerable save because they're diseased Terminator plate. Yeah. It's called diseased Terminator plate. It's a strict rule. So they don't get +1 to their armor save like a Storm Shield. Yeah. They just have a 3 up invuln.
Yeah.
But -1 damage. You hit him with a las cannon and he's got a 50-50 chance of surviving.
Yeah.
It's absolutely...
Well, even with this guy, back in the day, when... Oh, he's heavy.
He's lead.
Oh, wow. On 6 wounds, like, you had to remind me when I rolled it. I was like, when I rolled a 6, he's going to die. No, if I rolled a 6, he was still going to live no matter what. Yeah.
On 1 wound. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's actually... I got really excited, like, I might kill him, and I didn't.
But also putting transhuman physiology on him. That's just dirty. You can put that command trait, warlord trait on a lord or on something. Death Guard right now feel filthy. I don't like putting up battle reports that are one-sided, but this is a codex reveal. This is the first one we got to show after the new codex dropped. So I'm sticking this one up because people will want to see what they can do. Hindsight is a glorious thing. You could have perhaps camped on a couple of addictives and have overlapping fields, or perhaps brought a lot more infantry, or perhaps brought a lot more... There's so many things that when you look back on it, could have, should have, would have done.
I'd be honest, bringing infantry, I don't think that would have helped me too much because the guns I have can't do the double damage they normally do.
Well, also I'm saying that your Vorkanis 22nd has got a very good kill record.
Yeah.
You dropping in and doing the damage and doing the wounds.
That's the first time they've ever completely whiffed. I put them in against Sisters, Space Marines, whatever. They've destroyed whatever. Plasma or everything has killed them. These guys, they came in, they killed maybe a Marine and a half, I think, over here.
Yeah, I think so.
It was
really
2
full
poor.
squads doing.
Yeah, I will admit, and obviously I can control this, some of my rolling was pretty terrible today, but it's not down to the dice in this one. It's just Death Guard are very tough right now.
Yeah.
As they should be, lore-wise.
Yeah.
We'll see how the rest of Ninth shapes up.
Yeah.
How everyone counteracts this, because Space Marines were top dog. We might see chaos now.
Well, it'd be nice to see a bit more variety.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure the Guard are going to get some love at some point too.
Of course, yeah.
Particularly because I'm getting Guard. So
the
13th Militarum are on their way at some point in 2021. Guys, we hope you enjoyed that battle report. If you want to see more videos from me, or if you just want to support me, show us the love, then please consider subscribing to deploymentzone.tv. I'm on Instagram, and you're on Instagram.
Yes.
DZTV_Winters SEO, DZTV_Sultan. Yeah. Basically, if you put DZTV_ in Instagram, it comes up with Rob Not Steve, Steve Not Rob, Chewy, Say Hi Paul. It comes up with a bunch of different people.
Everybody.
Stylus.
Quipster is Quips the Nerd. He's
all of the regulars on Instagram. So yeah, you can subscribe to Deployment Zone. I'm on Patreon. DZT. Go to DZTV Patreon. That also unlocks the Discord if you want to get into the chat room.
It's brilliant, yeah.
Terrain, urbanmats.com. That's mats with a Z, and also the battle mat here. So the train is from them. You're from 5 minutes down the road. And my support bubble, thank you so much for giving us some more time.
You're welcome.
And we hope you enjoyed that battle report, guys. Happy wargaming.
Bye.